When we're talking about spirit photography or anomalies in photos that we can't explain, there's a couple different types. Sometimes you see an apparition or what looks to be a human. Sometimes you see light anomalies. Other times it's shadows. So there's various different kind of shapes and forms and all sorts of good stuff that can show up in a photo.
Smile for the dead. I had no idea what to expect before embarking on this journey, but oh, I went down the rabbit hole and I fully understand why the director wanted to make a piece about these photographs. There's so many layers that were really brilliantly explored in this doc from a variety of experts and individuals from so many different disciplines where we can examine these photographs and all of the anthropological, the sociological, the economical layers to this. From why were people so drawn to these photos? Why did they want them? What psychologically compelled them? Economically, why was he doing this? And the idea of trickery. How physically did he make these photos? And then also, was it actually him? Or was it the assistant? So many layers that I think perpetuated me asking even more questions, which is what we're looking for. I very much felt that anticipation when he got to go to the museum to see these images in the flesh. And yeah, it felt like a big culmination of a journey. So I very much appreciate this. Great pacing, really nice organic flow to the piece. And yeah, just a really knowledgeable bunch to examine this phenomena. And I'm definitely wanting to know more. So very much loved this piece. Unexpected, but it's going to stick with me.
Smile for the dead. What's most interesting about a piece like this is not even so much the photography itself and the question of its reality. Are these ghosts or are they not? But it's that more so at its core, this is a story about how history, again, can so often be co opted. In this case, I think the argument could be made by the patriarchy itself that the achievement of what was most likely a woman, a wife nonetheless, was really taken by history and reconfigured to be more credited towards her husband. Of course, we can only know so much of the truth through modern analysis and evaluation, as is beautifully illustrated in this doc. But the debate and question still lies as to why this happens so often in history, even when the accredit isn't necessarily some marvelous invention, but rather something that in itself is controversial, spiritual photography. So it leaves a lot for you to think about, not just about, again, the existence of the other side or not, but also of how history has this, again, insatiable habit to undermine the achievements and legacy of women.
Smile for the Dead. I found this so intriguing. I'd never heard of spirit photography before, so I had no idea about any of this prior to watching this, and I thought that this film did a great job of really explaining what spirit documentary is as like just a general basis, but then really deep diving into this kind of infamous spirit photographer and going into the kind of legend and history of him and his wife and what they really, what all of these different people really think happened, and how spirit photography is linked to grief in so many ways, and all of these different takes, which I really appreciated that they included so many different perspectives and so many different, kind of takes on what they think actually happened way back when, but also even if it was some sort of sleight of hand, some sort of trick, some sort of whatever, is that necessarily a bad thing? Did their sleight of hand, did their trickery, did their whatever help people along in their journey of grief, and how linked these two concepts can be, and how, yes, they could have, tricked or done whatever, but was it necessarily doing more damage than doing good? And it just brought up a lot of really interesting concepts, and how, for me personally, I think that the biggest thing is it really brought up how this country approaches grief, and how that changes drastically when you take in and learn about different cultures. And I just found it really fascinating that all of these, if you look at different countries around the world, in different cultures and different societies, how they process grief is so different. And in, the kind of the culture and the society that I've grown up in, it's, kind of very hush hush, and it's just kind of accepted that it's something everybody goes through, but it's not often widely talked about what that process looks like. And I understand that grief is very personal, but I feel like is often kind of like people shy away from it because it's an intense and it's big feelings. And I think that can make some people uncomfortable or nervous because they don't know how to handle it when it's not their own big feelings. Sometimes they don't know how to handle it when it is their own big feelings, but they don't know how to be there or support or, accept somebody else's. And I just thought that this brought up a lot of really interesting commentary about grief, and it made me think about it in a different way, which I thought was great.
Ghost photography or spirit photography has always been a fascinating subject for not only me, but many people. I had never heard about Mumler. I assumed it came from somewhere. I didn't know where. It sounds like the theory in this documentary is that they thought he was an illusionist that somehow created the illusion of ghost photography, that there's a ghost behind someone, which is very possible because I'm not sure how you recreate that over and over again in the same studio. But this is still a very interesting topic because it is a topic that so many people are interested in. Because there's so many paranormal investigators and paranormal photographers that will just go to haunted places and try and capture a ghost. This documentary also went through the stages of grief, saying that people don't always process them very well, and that would be explain why Mumler did what he did, helping people. This is a very informative documentary. It'd be fun around Halloween to show on something, just because I think it would get a lot of clicks around then. People would really like it. It would also probably do well on Paramount Plus if it's advertised right after the show School Spirits. But it really does, well, it's a fascinating subject that I think everybody's been interested in, especially these old photographs where you see what looks like ghosts behind them, or you see them taking pictures of dead people. It's a fascinating subject, and to know that who the man was behind these, Mumler and possibly his wife, it's just a fascinating subject.
This film is called Smile for the Dead. What a fascinating doc film. I love the way it showed such wonder and mystery. It gives a lot of info out, but a lot remains unknown. Excellent historical details and context of the time when the photos were made. I really enjoyed the step-by-step explanation of how these photos were likely created. It would be awesome to be a fly on the wall when Mumler was making them. Society really loves taking photos and is intrigued by ghosts. This film revealed how people really had these passions even years ago. The discussion of grief was quite eye-opening, and it made sense given these photos were so popular. Nice, eerie piano throughout. Great job.